Hey friends, it's Kip Icon, and welcome back to Kip Plays Dear Esther. This is the finale of the series. This is chapter 4, and I am really grateful that you friends are here with me for this because I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to this here. Alright, we're emerging from the cave. Who is lighting all of these candles? Look at that moon. That's pretty. There's like docks down there.
I sat here and watched two jets carve parallel white lines into the sky. They charted their course, and I followed them for 21 minutes until they turned off near Sanford and were lost. If I were a gull, I would abandon my nest and join them. I would starve my brain of oxygen and suffer delusions of transcendence. I would tear the bottom from my boat and sail across the motorways until I reached this island once again.
Got a paint can and a paintbrush up here. Oh, I forget. We've got to turn it down a couple ticks, Kip. I am. What a professional. Okay. I believe that way is progress. So, can we hop down here? Oh, yeah. Look how resilient we are. Let me check out this side first. He talked about tearing the bottom out of his boat there, and that's not the first time we've heard talk of tearing the bottom out of boats or boats having holes in them. How else would another hermit get here? That kind of thing. Alright, that doesn't seem to go anywhere. Secret? Like I had imagined. That's the thing about this game, is you're never really allowed to feel lost for too long. You can pretty easily find your way. I understand they redid some of the level design for this. Can I make it across here if I just... Oh, no I cannot is the answer to that. I don't think it picked it up in the audio before, but there definitely was the sound of a car's blinker whenever we were underwater near the car wreck. And when we fell underwater there too, you could hear the sound of a car's blinker. All of this culminating with the idea that the narrator has come to this island to find Paul, the person who was the drunk driver who killed his SO, you know, his great love, the great love of his life, Esther. I don't think he's come for revenge. I don't think he's come... I think he's just come to seeking a little bit of closure, honestly. Which I think the urns definitely kind of you know, bring home this point of letting go. That's one interpretation, right? Certainly other interpretations exist that are very valid, and, you know, like I've mentioned, every playthrough is different, so that interpretation may not hold up depending on what choices you make and what narration you receive. Ooh, look, there's someone up there on the cliff top. I played this game 3 times now, and I've never seen a soul. Gosh, that's beautiful. Kind of creepy. Is that indicative of our desire to maybe find our
We shall begin to assemble our own version of the North Shore. We will scrawl in dead languages and electrical diagrams and hide them away for future theologians to muse and mumble over. We will send a letter to Esther Donnelly and demand her answer. We will mix the paint with ashes and tarmac and the glow from our infections. We will paint a moon over the Sanford Junction and blue lights falling like stars along the hard shoulder.
There's like a cave up there. Like I said, I may not know exactly what this narration is talking about sometimes as far as the specifics go, but emotionally it resonates with me and I feel like I understand. Do you guys get that impression too? Well, it's some sort of medical machine. Oh, is it a defibrillator? Yeah, I think it's a defibrillator and more of the surgery tools. So this is indicative of, or evocative of, trying to resuscitate Esther, I'm sure, after the car crash. Definitely let me know in the comments if you feel I'm completely off base with this. Oh wow, there are even pictures of a car wreck. How could I be off base with this, eh? This would be a good place to hide an urn, I think. Can I hop down? I'm not sure. Oh. Okay, yeah. This would be a really good place to hide an urn, I think. I might actually... Oh, there it is. Wow. I guess these things aren't that hard to find, although I missed the one in chapter 1 and I missed the one in the last chapter. Did I get the one in the last? No, I didn't. Alright, well, those ashes were scattered. Alright, sorry, Franz, I had a little disruption there. Little distraction. Seriously, I can't fit through there? Are you kidding me? Oh, I should totally be able to fit through there. Oh, look how pretty this is. Who is lighting all of these candles? We have a photograph of... Maybe that's Esther. She's got a crack in her face there. And this is... Wow, are those letters... Are those Hebrew letters? No, or is that just... Well, who knows? Someone knows. Let me know. Ooh, look at all those white lines carved into the face of the mountain. We know that the white lines carved into the face of the mountain means somebody is injured or hurt or dying. But originally, whenever we learned about the white lines, there were only two, which make me think of Esther and Paul. Maybe it's, well, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. I remember when I first played this game, at this point, thinking to myself, because I was in suspense for so long, thinking that something was going to happen. That it was going to be a horror game or something like that. Something scary was going to happen, or... That's certainly interesting. A little found object assemblage. made of axles and wheels and detritus from a car wreck. I remember at this point finally coming to terms that maybe nothing was going to happen. And I was really okay with that at that point. As far as like, an enemy or something like that, thinking that the big twist would be suddenly that I'm being chased or that I am turning
All
into a
by the
zombie.
roadside, by the exit for Damascus, all ticking and cooled, all feathers and remorse, all of these signals routed like traffic through the circuit diagrams of our guts, those badly written boats torn bottomless in the swells, washing us forever ashore.
Wow. How do these two men reconcile? The one who was responsible for killing Esther and the one who has lost Esther. Maybe he never let Paul know that it was him? Light from heaven shone all around, I think is what it says. All around him, I think. I mean, what can you possibly expect from the person who drunkenly killed your loved one? An apology? Is that really worthwhile? Would you feel satiated by something like that? Even if they really meant it.
I can see my armada. I collected all the letters I'd ever meant to send to you, if I'd have ever made it to the mainland, but had instead collected at the bottom of my rucksack, and I spread them out along the lost beach. Then I took each and every one, and I folded them into boats. I folded you into the creases, and then, as the sun was setting, I set the fleet to sail. Shattered into 21 pieces, I consigned you to the
21.
Atlantic, and I sat here until I'd watched all of you sink.
And I sat here until I watched all of you sink. So what we're hearing are these letters. This is all about letting go. There's such joy in letting go. There's such peace. But my gosh, is it hard to get to that point. But just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not worth it, that's for sure. On a sudden, a light from heaven shone around him, and he fell to the ground. More about the story of Paul traveling to Damascus, I think? Which I think I mentioned I really don't recall that story. Ooh, look at all of the crisscrossing lines on the mountain. That's certainly a pattern there. Wonder what that is about. Well, we drown in this water, we've learned, so we won't wade out too far. 21 letters. "21 letters, 21 times that we revisited the spot of the accident." I can't really remember off the top of my head any other instances of the arc number of 21. I don't think that this is made by an American company, so I don't think 21 and up to drink matters here at all. But we'll keep our ear to the ground for more instances of 21. And is that shadowy figure still there? Yeah, I think so. Didn't mean to get so excited there, but
I will drag my leg behind me. I will drag it like a crumpled hatchback tires blown and sparking across the dimming lights of my vision. I'm running out of painkillers and am following the flicker of the moon home. When Paul keeled over dead on the road to Damascus, they restarted his heart with the jump leads from a crumpled hatchback. It took 21 attempts to convince it to wake up.
21 attempts. Interesting. I don't think I've ever gone this way before. The Southwest Weston's Mare M5, so probably a street sign from the area where the accident occurred. You know, we all make some pretty stupid decisions from time to time, but it's important to remember that we always think we're making the right decision at the time to maybe not beat ourselves up so much about it, but boy howdy is drunk driving the wrong kind of wrong decision to make. I'm amazed that more of us aren't dead from drunk driving accidents. I'm amazed that more people aren't just mowed down on a regular basis. There's certainly not a lot of sympathy going out to the people who are drunk driving and killing people. Yeah, the person is still there by the candle. I wonder if I can get to them before they... Well, where else can they go, really? The other one went inside the house. Unless this one vanishes, I think I can corner them. Oh. The head is right above. Oh, they're just gonna disappear, aren't they? Well, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what happens.
I've begun my voyage in a paper boat without a bottom. I will fly to the moon in it. I've been folded along a crease in time, a weakness in the sheet of life. Now you've settled on the opposite side of the paper to me. I can see your traces in the ink that soaks through the fiber, the pulped vegetation. When we become waterlogged and the cage disintegrates, we will intermingle. When this paper aeroplane leaves the cliff edge and casts parallel vapor trails in the dark, we will come together.
The desire is still very strong to be reunited with Esther. And as he was proceeding on his journey, that's what that text says there. And as you can see, we are getting closer to our objective from the start, which was the blinking red light on top of the radio tower. And was come near to Damascus. And he...
If only Donnelly had experienced this, he would have realized he was his own shoreline, as am I. Just as I am becoming this island, so he became his syphilis, retreating into the burning synapses, the stones, the infection.
Well, it says, and he was 3 days without sight. And I think this says, and neither did he eat or drink. Yeah, and neither did he eat or drink. So, is this the story of his eye? He was blind, but like a prophet or someone put like spit in his hands and put sand and like turned it into mud, and the mud healed his sight. I can't remember. It's been such a long time since I've revisited Bible stories. Ooh, what have we here? It's a little house, a little hut.
Returning to my car afterwards, hands still shaking, and a head split open by the impact. Goodbye to tearful aunts and traumatized uncles. Goodbye to the phenomenal. Goodbye to the tangible. Goodbye Wolverhampton. Goodbye Sanford. Goodbye Cromer. Goodbye Damascus. This cliff path is slippery in the dew. It is hard to climb with such an infection. I must carve out the bad flesh and sling it from the aerial. I must become infused with the very air.
I must become infused with the very air. One of the most heartbreaking renditions of the story of this game involves you actually being the person who killed Esther in the car wreck. I'm really grateful we didn't get that this go round. You know, we're not really told much about Esther, and the narrator doesn't go in too much detail about how he feels about Esther. But the bond is obviously so strong between them, you can just tell how much Esther meant to the narrator. And it came to pass that as I made my journey, and on unto Damascus, what? That one's really hard to read. And was come nigh unto Damascus? Something like that? At this point, I don't think that text is necessarily important to read all of. We get the point. It's the Bible story. The Bible story that Kip doesn't know. From heaven. So we've seen that text before, I think. Dang, we are high, guys. We are very, very high up here. I'm starting to feel a little scared. I'm pretty afraid of heights, but I can handle it. I just went on a Ferris wheel and I didn't want to go on it, but
Drunk, Esther.
I did
He's
fine.
not drunk at all. He
What?
had not drunk with Donnelly or spat Jakobsen back at the sea. He had not careered across the lost shores and terminal beaches of this nascent archipelago. He did not intend his bonnet to be crumpled like a spent tissue by the impact. His windscreen was not star-studded all over like a map of the heavens. His paintwork etched with circuit diagrams, strange fish to call the gulls away. The phosphorescence of the skid marks lighting the M5 all the way from Exeter to Damascus.
Oh my gosh. He wasn't drunk. Oh my gosh, in some ways this is worse. In this version of the narrative, Paul wasn't even drunk whenever he killed Esther in the car crash. It's like all the narrator wants is a confirmation that Paul actually was a drunk and that it was a drunken car crash, because that would make sense. Something like that would make logical sense, and it would make sense that Esther's gone now because a drunk driver killed her. Not that the driver was sober. I feel like in many ways that's harder to deal with. It's less concrete. There's less closure. Yeah, now the words are simply just fragmenting. It is windy up here, guys. Very, very windy. I feel it. Who in the world are we gonna find up here? Oh my gosh, there's another shadowy figure. Damascus. This is it. Damascus as, regardless of what the story is, we know that in the story Damascus is a goal of some kind. And at the top of this hill, by the red flashing light, by the radio tower that's been our objective the entire time, the word Damascus is painted. I don't think that's a coincidence. This is our goal.
I have run out of places to climb. I will abandon this body and take to the air.
I will abandon this body.
Dear Esther, I have burned the cliffs of Damascus. I have drunk deep of it. My heart is my leg, and a black line etched on the paper all along this boat without a bottom. You are all the world like a nest to me. Eggs unbroken form like fossils, come together, send small black flowers to the air. From this infection, hope. From this island, flight. From this grief, love.
From this grief, love. What are we doing? What are we doing? This seems crazy. This seems... Oh, this is so breathtaking. And we've turned into a bird. Oh, come back. We were marooned on the island where we met the man who killed our wife. And it wasn't an easily explained scenario. It wasn't wrapped up like a traditional story would be wrapped up. He wasn't drunk. He didn't have an addiction. She wasn't killed in a car in a drunk driving accident. That's much harder to swallow.
Come back.
And in the end, I guess we just longed to be with her so much that we joined her. I mean, that certainly is not a satisfying, neatly wrapped up storyline by any stretch of the imagination, and I love that. I love that the idea of this, from grief love and this longing really drove the project. The project and the whole team, they were working towards the same thing, and it was like they didn't make sacrifices so that people could play a game that was easily digestible. And I think as artists and game designers and game developers, we should remember that. It's not always about kowtowing to what we think people want. Because at the end of the day, what we got was a beautiful experience, unlike anything else at the time, certainly. And that's a very rewarding thing. I can only imagine how rewarding it must feel to have worked on this game. And I, once again, was totally along for the journey the entire time, invested the entire time. What a great title. I'm really happy that you guys were here to uh, play this with me and watch me play this, and I'm excited to get some feedback about what you guys think about this game. Um, Looks like I'm going to be playing Minute next for a Kip Tries. I'm excited about that, and look forward to more Doki Doki Panic and also more Undertale. Unless anything else is going to happen here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have been and I will continue to be Kip Icon unless unless I have been and I will continue to be Kip Icon as long as you guys continue to what? Follow your drams. Bye.